Hi friends, welcome to Whatever Wednesdays. This week for Bugging Out Week, we are making paper mache bugs. This paper mache bug can be whatever shape, whatever bug that you want to create. Thank you so much to our viewer who suggested that we do this. It's perfect for a hot day because we can stick them outside and let them dry right in the warm air. Let's get started. For this, we're going to be using just some newspaper that you have around the house as to use for the body. We're also, for our first step, going to need some tape because we're going to be using that to make sure that it's positioned the way that we want it. And if you have any just cardboard, I have this oatmeal box hanging around in your house, you can use that too to build a little bit more and make our actual sculptural structure. So we're just going to take some newspaper and crumple it up using both hands. You don't need to use your muscles for this. If you want to make it a smaller ball, you can kind of use your muscles and squeeze it. Maybe this will be my head because it's squeezed a little bit smaller. And then we're just going to take our tape and we're going to tape around that ball. And that'll make sure that whatever shape we created will stay so that we can move on to our next thing. After we've taped up our head, the size and the shape that we want it, so mine is going to be a circle, but yours doesn't have to be. Then we can move on to our body. And all of this is going to be covered up too, so it's okay to use a lot of tape. For our body, I'm going to be crumpling it a little bit less. I'm actually going to make mine a little bit longer too, less of a circle. And then tape it up. What I'm going to be using the cardboard for to add to this structure as well is I'm going to be adding some wings to mine. Yours doesn't have to have wings. Maybe yours is an ant. Or maybe yours has different types of wings than mine. Lots of bugs have different types of bodies from one another. Or maybe you have more than one bit of your body if you're a bug. Because some things like ants have different parts to their body and you can really see them in the shape. Once again, we're not going to be seeing this tape. So use lots to make sure that you're holding it in the position that you want. Once you have your body all sorted out, then you can attach your head and your body together using that same tape. I'm using painter's tape. You can use whatever tape you like at your house. Sometimes I find that clear tape doesn't stick quite as well when it gets wet. Something to keep in mind. Okay. And then for my wing shape, just going to be cutting, almost looks like a flower petal. Just big shape here. And then I'm going to be doing a second one on this one. So my bug has two wings. And the last thing I'm going to be adding to my bug is some eyeballs too, some big ones that really stand out. Bend these a bit. Once we've attached all of the different cardboard and newspaper body parts that we're adding to our bug, then we can move on to step 2. Once we have the shape that we're happy with and we have lots of tape on there and we feel safe putting it down, then we're ready to move on to our next step. We're going to be getting our hands messy for this. If you're not okay with that, you can always use a spoon too, but I'm going to be demonstrating using my hand. We're going to be making our own paper mache mix. For this, you need a bowl. We're going to be using some water and some flour as well. There isn't really a science to this, so you're just going to be adding bit of flour into the bowl, and then a bit of water as well after that, and mixing it. You want it to be kind of gloopy. Just mixing it with your hand so it's gloopy. You want it wetter than this, so it's not going to be quite as gloopy as Play-Doh. We're going to be using a lot of this because we're going to cover the entire body. It will be a little bit clumpy. That's okay. When it's dry, we can paint it and we won't even notice the clumps. So you can see it's a little bit clumpy, but it's a good paste. That's what we call it. When you're ready to get started with using the amount that you have, so you're probably going to want a little bit more than this to start. I also use warm water, not hot, but warm. I think it feels nicer on your hands. When you're all ready to use it, then we can put some newspaper down so we don't get our table dirty. And I have already prepared some strips of newsprint. So there's nothing on this, but it's similar to newspaper. So you can take some of that. If you don't have any of that at home, you can use newspaper too. You might just have to add a couple more layers of paint to yours. Then we're gonna take our bug, we're gonna take our newsprint, and we're dipping it into our paste. Just dipping it in, using our hand, pressing it down, and this is way too much paste on it. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna take our two fingers, our pointer and our middle, and we're gonna put them on either side of the newsprint and take off all of that extra. It's still covered, but we just don't need all of that gloopy stuff. It might start to rip, that's okay too. You can always just separate it into two. And then we're just gonna be spreading it onto our entire paper mache bug. You can overlap your newsprint a bit. What's important though is we're smoothing it down. So see how this is just kind of flapping in the wind? We don't want that to happen. We want to smooth it down to the body that we've created. We're going to be detectives with this too, making sure that none of that tape or newspaper is showing of the body that we've created, and just cover the whole thing using newsprint. When your entire bug is covered in your paper mache and you've also smoothed it out and maybe removed any really gloopy bits, sometimes when I have extra glue or paste on my hands, I like to take a piece and then just put it in between my fingers and then spread that as a little bit extra as well to use it up. I've also done 2 layers on here too to make sure that it's nice and secure when it's all hard. So now that we're all finished turning it around, covering the whole body, it's ready to dry. We can either put it outside or we can leave it overnight inside too. So that's the next thing we're gonna do, and then we'll pick up when it's all dry. Now that we've had our paper mache out in the sun, it's nice and hard. You can actually hear it, and that's from doing multiple layers on it too. So our shape has stayed and we're ready to paint it. So, as I usually say, you can do yours whatever color you want. Maybe you've been thinking about a particular bug that you want to do, or maybe you're gonna make your own bug. Totally up to you. So I always like doing big base colors on it to start, and then adding details like maybe I want to add some webbing on the wings or some details in the eyes after I've done that coating on to start. You're gonna find with your paper mache as well that there are little creases, little bumps that have raised up and stuff like that, just from the way that the paper dried. So we're just wiggling our brushes around, making sure that we're getting all of those spots and we don't see any white any longer. Make sure as well you're holding it in one hand so that you can just turn it around, make sure that we're getting all of the body. Our bugs are all dry with the paint that we used, and I decided that I was gonna add some legs to it, so I just poked some holes in the bottom and added some pipe cleaners to it too. Maybe you wanna add some different decorations to yours. Mine also kinda looks like a firefly. I would love to see what yours look like. Thanks for tuning in for Whatever Wednesdays and some paper mache bugs. Thank you so much to our viewer who suggested that we made bugs and paper mache ones at that. Be sure to check out tomorrow's video for Tasty Thursdays, and I hope you enjoyed. Bye guys!